Oops, I was wrong. Um, so we are near the end of the Sabbath, and I pretty much just nearly awoken, not long ago, an hour ago or something like that, and my symptoms seems to be a lot less, so that's nice. They're still there, but yeah, we'll see. Maybe it was just the beginning of the day that was, pretty good. I was like, oh, this is nice. It actually seems to be pretty nearly away, gone, but it's still there. Guess the body just needs to wake up, and then it's still there in my legs and my arms and all that, and my nose. Anyway, so I'm just thinking with a more clear mind, I guess, and my hands. Anyway, so thinking that in regards of getting the puzzle pieces of the fourth century, and again, I really want to at some point get some more information from some historians on the fourth century of Rome and all that. So what I have is that I've had some puzzle pieces in regards of a huge amount of persecution going on in the fourth century, so-called Christians against Christians, So the so-called Christians were slaughtering the Christians. Yeah, that doesn't make sense, does it? Well, anyway, as I understand it, there was I remember reading something that the pagans was actually appalled that it's like, what is going on? The Christians are slaying the Christians. Well, maybe the Christians that were slaying the Christians was just Christians in name, right? Anyway, so as I understand it, more Christians were slain in the 4th century than the centuries past. If you take all the centuries past the 4th century, more Christians were slain in the 4th century. So it seems like there must have been a lot of persecution going on. I've seen stories in regards of persecuting so-called Judaizers, but it's not not that they would be Judaizers, of course, but it's not a negative term as the Romanizers want it to be. So I'm a Judaizer myself, so I'm not a Romanizer, I'm a Judaizer. I'm a Protestant, I'm a Christian, and so forward. But anyway, because I'm protesting against the Antichrist, and thereby I would be a Protestant, But of course, the so-called Protestants today don't even know who the Protestants actually protested against. So anyway, and I'm a Judaizer because I think we should keep the law of Jehovah and not the law of Rome and the Antichrist. I think that makes pretty good sense. Anyway, so. Where was I? So I read things where we see persecution of Judaizers, people that don't want to eat unclean meat, people that don't want to keep Sunday instead of Saturday, horrible stories. So I see here. So 325, we have the Nicene Council. And we see, as far as I go with my resources, it would be nice to verify it. But as I downloaded the Nicene Creed document. So if that was correct, then at that point they were happy to all be in agreement to do according to Roman tradition in regards of Easter. You see, there was a conflict between Asia Minor, and that's the place that rejected Roman Pharisee Paulus, according to himself in 2 Timothy 1:15. And after that, you can go to Revelation 2:2 and see what Yeshua talks about in regards of false apostles, and they tested them and found them liars, and so forth. Anyway, that's another topic for itself, but all the puzzle pieces, right? We have to see. So anyway, so we have a conflict between Asia Minor and Rome, and we have this wonderful letter from Polygratus. But before that letter is written and all that, and that conflict, we have Polycarp. That's another guy. He goes to Rome to try to correct them on this Passover Easter thing, but they don't want to be instructed in according to the Bible. So they keep to their traditions in Rome. So they're not using the Bible to actually use it as a measurement, in regards to what to do. So, of course, the little horn in the book of Daniel think to change times and laws, and we know that little horn sits on a Roman beast, and we know the little horn persecutes the saints. All right. And then, of course, if you go to the book of Revelation, you find more detail in regards to the whore drunken by the blood of the saints and riding on the authority of the beast of the number 666. In any case, so let's get back. And of course, the whore has been there from the very beginning of Rome's conception, as it seems to me, as far as I can see. So, she's riding on all the 7 heads. So, she has to be there from the beginning when Rome was a kingdom, as far as I can gather. So, anyway, getting back to the 4th century. Oh, yeah, we have the conflict between, this Passover, Easter conflict between Rome and Asia Minor and so forward. So we see Polycarp going to Rome and they don't want to be instructed, and use the Bible as a measurement. So Rome is continually, promoting this fallacy. Also, we have there's some thing in regards to where they begin to do the Sunday thing instead of Saturday and all that. That seems to be starting out with Rome and Alexandria. So that's another. But anyway, so, and of course Saturday would be the day, but we're not to Judaize. We're not to be like the Jews and all that. And it's like, well, Jesus was a Jew, wasn't he? Okay, well, we pretty much, okay, if Jesus was a Jew, maybe we should do as he did, right? Anyway, we see Polycrates later on writing back to Bishop Victor in Rome, who thinks that they should change the Passover to the fallacy of Easter, and apparently it seems like he has threatened them. When you see the response of the letter of Polycrates, it seems like he must have been threatening them, and afterwards he went ballistic and wanted to he wanted to excommunicate them, like he has the authority to do that, but he thought he had. He already thought that he was, we know that the horn, pumps, it's like a more stout horn than the others and all that. Anyway, he's already thinking that he has the authority to excommunicate, the Asian churches in Asia Minor and all that. And we have one of the other guys writing, calm down and so, whatever. Anyway, whatever. So we already see, how Rome is fulfilling the role of prophecy. So, and the Romanizers seems to not have liked, some of the people in Asia Minor, and we have lost a lot of documents and all that. And I think we can thank Rome for that. Anyway, let's get back. So, in the Council of Nicaea 325, they're like, because this conflict had been ongoing for a long, long time, and they're like, oh, we're now all in agreement to keep to the Roman traditions, and they just spit it out pretty much on the document that I've read. And and then of course John Chrysostom is also trying to defend this, but that seems to be another council, maybe a little later council, where he talks about this. So I'm not sure how that gathered, but in any case, they are now in agreement with these things. I'm not sure why, because it seems like John Chrysostom is talking about another council, but of course it must be, in that time period, because and I do remember there was, I think, another church council, whatever they want to call it and all that, and but John Chrysostom is Romanizing as usual, attacking the real festivals of Jehovah, and he's in the late 4th century. And he's also the one that begins to promote Christ Mass in that area, And he also said, there's a lot of, apparently people are not really going along with it. They're just, this is something new and all that. So there's a lot of, talk about this. Apparently you can see it from his writings, and I haven't read it all, but, you can see, apparently, according to some of the sources I read, he was actually making a good amount of sermons because it didn't really work in regards of people wanting, so he had to preach more on it and more positively on it to make people buy it. This pagan Roman bullshit. So this is the late 4th century. So, and this is the December 25 and all that, which is interesting because that seems to be related to the sun birth of Sol Invictus and Mithra. And we also know Constantine, it seems he wants to, as far as I can gather, he wants to get away from the Jews. We shouldn't be like the Jews and all that. We also see a law in regards of that we shouldn't Judaize, we should keep Sunday holy and not Saturday. We shouldn't, we should work on the Saturday and we shouldn't work on Sunday and all that. So we see a law by decree to turn away from the biblical law of the Bible. Anyway, so there's a lot of things going on in the 4th century. To turn away from the law of Jehovah, and it's just utter bullshit. And of course, it just exposes this whole Roman Catholicism bullshit institution, anyway. And of course, Constantine is what? He's the high pagan priest, the Pontifex Maximus of Sol Invictus, which also is related to Mithra. And as far as I can see, they are the same, but there seems to be different opinions by it. If there's just, but if they're two, but still both of them are in regards of sun worship, in regards of the literal sun and all that, So the dead sun, pretty much, pagan bullshit. So we have this religion that are competing with Christianity, apparently, that seems to be popular as well, the first 4 centuries, and that's Mithraism. And apparently Mithraism and Christianity have some of the same things, some of the same things, but of course it's not all the same, but some of the things seems very close, pretty much. But the devil's way of distorting things as usual. He has many ways. He tries on many levels to try to destroy the truth and lead people astray, and he's been doing it for centuries, right? Actually, thousands of years, actually. So, and he pretty much succeeded, on so many levels, in regards of other nations that went astray, worshipping these demons and gave worship to Satan. So anyway, so I'm thinking like, okay, so we have these puzzle pieces. We have a huge amount of persecution in the 4th century. We have the Roman Catholic institution, where we see these amalgamation where the mystery religion of Rome takes on sheep clothing, and it's still pagan bullshit. It's still pagan bullshit, but it makes it out to something it's not. So it makes it out to be Christian, and yet it's persecuting Christians. It's twisting the scriptures. It's turning from the biblical commandments to its own pagan bullshit and just Christianizing it. So it's just putting some Christian glimmer, and then apparently everything is okay. Anyway, so I was thinking in regards to Mithraism, when did that actually go away? Because I've seen sources where they say we don't actually have that much information on Mithraism. We do have some sources talking about like Christians, or whatever you want, whatever. You have to be aware in regards of that the good eatable seeds are growing up with the poisonous darnel, the bad tares. So you really have to be, you have to be aware of things when you're reading documents from the past that, you have to discern. So, in any case, so we have, there's little information in regards of the, of Mithraism, but as understandably, there's not that much. But I'm not entirely sure because I haven't done, I haven't dig. I did see a book in regards to Mithraism that actually said that there has been a huge amount of research in I think it was the 1900 or something like that about it, and we actually know these things, but it's not gotten out to the public because apparently those that should have actually told us the truth and all that are not feeding us the truth. And of course we already know that in regards to all these people standing in the churches and all that, promoting all this pagan bullshit like Sunday and Easter and Halloween and Christmas and all the rest, But don't talk about the Jewish festivals, right? Don't take them into the church, right? Because then you are a Judaizer. You are a legalist, an extremist, a radical, a fundamentalist, right? Yeah, anyway. Get out of the church, right? Yeah, it's just incredible. Because we couldn't keep the festivals of Jehovah. That's no-go. That's no-go. But paganism, that's another pagan tradition. Let's get into the church. Hey, let's go. We can use that. Yeah. Oh, what utter outrageous bullshit, Anyway, so they do what they always have done. They break down God's law, and they call themselves Christians while they break it down. It's incredible, And then, of course, they don't talk about who the Antichrist is anymore. The Protestants don't even know who the Antichrist is. Those nominations that are called Protestants, right? Most of them have no clue who the Antichrist is. Incredible. Someone must not have told them. Yeah. So now today we're singing love songs to the Antichrist, and of course we have Freemasons standing behind the pulpit, and we have people not believing in the Bible and or God behind the pulpit. We have a lot of weirdos behind the pulpit leading the people astray. Yeah, and not going by the word of God. And of course they're also leading people into lawlessness by using Paul, because that's been, the game from the first century has been to lead people away from the law of Jehovah. It's incredible, and it has worked a good amount. And of course persecuting those heretics, right? And if you are heretics, apparently you're okay to kill. One of the things that you see the Roman Catholic bullshitters, where they say, but they were heretics and all that. Well, which is a lie. Like, for example, the Waldensians and I think the Albigensians and all that. Yeah, but they were heretics and all that. And we have enough historical information to know that's a lie. But So even if they were heretics, let's just when they try to they were heretics and all that, let's just say they were heretics, right? That's okay. So then it was okay to murder and persecute them all. That doesn't make it any better now. That doesn't make it any better to murder them. What was that? What Yeshua said to do? Go out, and if they don't, if they're heretics, murder them. I don't think so. But of course, in regards of history and all that, they were not heretics as far as I remember. So, they were real Christians being persecuted by the whole of Rome, and the Antichrist. Yeah, anyway. So this is just utter bullshit how these Roman Catholics try to twist history, rewrite history. All roads leads to Rome, This is the filthy whore, and they worship a cookie. And of course all the other abominations they tend to do, and promote all these lies and wicked deceptions and the twisting of things. And anyway, and use all that tricks to try to shut our mouth, not speaking about the truth. So, any case, but if you read real Protestant history, you will see it's just everywhere pretty much, It's just, you just see more and more and more. This is the most disgusting system in the world. the masterpiece of the devil is Roman Catholicism, making itself out to be something it's not. Anyway, of course, the devil was losing to all the Christians. The Christians was becoming more and more in the Roman Empire. You know, the devil had to do something. So what do? You take it over from the inside. If you can't destroy it from the outside, you do it from the inside. Now, of course, I think he already began to do that in the first century with Roman Pharisee Paulus, who, as I said, all Asia rejected. If you read the last letter of Paulus, or one of his last letters, I think it's the last letter, but that's the 2 Timothy 1:15, and you can see that all Asia, on Paul's own word, rejected him. So anyway, but that was not the. But just be careful, There was two gospels going on in the world, One in regards of still the law, and one that leads away from the law of Jehovah, and one that leads to the law of Jehovah, to the instructions and so forward. Anyway. So we see these two gospels. You can, for example, read the prologues of Marcion from the 2nd century. He was a pro-Paul, Pauline Christian, or whatever you want to call that. He was, but of course he thought that those, teaching the scriptures was heretics. The heresy, in regards of teaching scripture, whatever. What other bullshit? In any case, so on the 4th century, I'm like, okay, so we have Christ Mass, or Yule, as we call it in Denmark. Yule goes back to the word Jølner. Jølner can be led back to Odin. So, so Yule actually just leads back to the false god Odin, and we still call it Yule in Denmark. And of course, we are, fixing up gnomes in our, households and all that, which is also false pagan gods of the past. And we're taking on, gnome hats and whatever, and teaching our children vanity and empty air, and lying to them and deceiving them about a Satan Claus, flying around and coming with packages, and he has these godlike features to know if the children have been good or bad. And of course, then we have these demonic entities that is also related to Satan Claus as well. And you can see that in some cultures. We don't really have it in Denmark, but who knows, in these fallen times, you see the paganism, travels from one nation to another nation, and people picks up. People love paganism, Just don't come with the festivals of Jehovah. The world hates those, it seems. But paganism, hey, more paganism. Let's get in, new traditions and all that. But anyway, you see like how these traditions go from one nation to another nation, and this and that, and it evolves maybe a little here, and then, gets back and so forward. Just all a mix of everything pretty much. Anyway, so who knows if this, but you can see like other societies, or other nations have this, where they're scaring the children totally by these disgusting demonic, the entities that they're dressing themselves out and so forward. And any case, we don't have that in Denmark, as at least not yet. You never know in these times, because the world is running amok. They are running away from the Bible and the instructions of the Bible, and just anyway. So, and we also have this where Santa Claus has demonic figure with him as well. So anyway, there's a lot of things. And if you actually look on Santa Claus, and in regards to the colors of his dress, it's red and white, right? Well, if you look on the Antichrist, some of the pictures, he's actually dressed in red and white, the exact same thing as Santa Claus. And actually, I've seen Catholic make fun of this, in regards of. So in any case, so you have, all roads leads to Rome, as the saying goes. But it's pagan bullshit, of course. It's pagan bullshit, and it's leading the children astray, and all the society is in on lying to the children, and deceiving them. And of course, when they find out it's all bullshit, well, they tend to put Jesus in that category as well, and then they lose they lose belief in Yeshua as well, you know. So, and the devil has done his deed. Anyway, let's get back to the 4th century and all that. So, a lot of things are happening in the 4th century. Oh yeah, in regards to Christ Mass, in regards of Son birth and all that. But anyway, so the 4th century, and again, Yule, you know, you can, you know, there's so many links here and there in regards of, and that's the thing, you know, when people say, well, everything can't be true in regards to this link and that link and all that, this said this and this said this and all that. Well, the thing is, it's all over, you know, so, you know, you get it from, they're borrowing from each other and, you know, doing this and all that. So, you know, even if one says that this is from this and another says this is from that, you know, it might all be true in regard, because it's just mixed out in a pile of, you know, of crap, pretty much. You know, it's a big pile of crap that's, you know, floods out to the world, pretty much. Anyway, and of course, if you remember the story of Babylon, you know, when Jehovah said, let us go down and distort their languages, if they're already into paganism at that point, what would then happen when you spread the nations out to 70 nations? Do you think they might have taken some of their traditions with them? Yeah, that might be possible, right? Anyway, any case. But in regards to the 4th century, we go into, we have this Mithra religion. We know it's there, and apparently it's pretty powerful. And we see all these things that Constantine, and what is Constantine? Well, Constantine is the high pagan priest of Sol Invictus. Sol Invictus can be linked to Mithra. So, the birth of the sun, or Mithra, or Sol Invictus, and probably have many other names. But anyway, let's just keep to what is going on in Rome, I guess. So the birth of Mithra is the 25 December. That is when the sun begins to rise and all that. And the same thing in regards of Sol Invictus, you know. But it seems like they are linked, but some believe they're two different sun gods and all that. But as far as I can see, they seem to be linked. In any case, you know, that they are one and the same pretty much. But some believe they're two different sun gods. But apparently, you know, both have this birth on the 25 December. Now, I've seen sources from one of the Antichrist saying, yeah, you know, Christ Mass replaced Mithra, you know, the birth of Mithra. So, and I haven't, you know, that might actually be from the same book that, you know, talking about, yeah, we know this because we have, you know, we have researched this a lot and all that, we know it, but it's just, it hasn't gone out to the public because, you know, apparently someone is not doing their job in regards to telling us and all that. And of course, if they just read the Bible, they would know it's pagan, you know. They would know it's not found in the Bible, you know. So why are we doing it if it's not found in the Bible? There's a lot of other things found in the Bible we don't do, because now you're Judaizing, right? You're not allowed to Judaize, yeah. It's bullshit. They're calling themselves Christians, right? Well, maybe we should then do what our master did, right? And he didn't keep Christ Mass, he didn't keep Easter, he didn't keep Halloween, but he did keep the so-called Jewish festivals. Well, they are Jewish festivals, I guess, but not only Jewish festivals, they are the festivals of Jehovah. So, and these are the ones that our master kept, guarded, and protected. You know, like the Sabbath, right? Yeshua had as his custom to do what on the Sabbath? To go to the synagogue, you know, to teach, right? You know, and, you know, so he went to the synagogue. That's synagogue is just a word for a house of gathering, you know. You didn't have all the computers and, you know, MP3 and or whatever players. So you went to the meeting house to listen to the scriptures and so forward, you know. So it was a gathering house, you know. And as you know, it's a great job to actually write all those scriptures, you know, out. As you know, it's not like to just make a copy like today, where we can say to the printer, you know, print out this and it will do it for you in like an hour or something like that. You know, making a scroll could take, you know, a long time and could be pretty expensive, you know. So time consuming and anyway. So they're pretty much just leading us into a lot of vanity and just keeping the status quo, which is utterly bullshit. Because they should be, the shepherds, so-called shepherds, that stands behind the podium, should feed, good eatable food, and yet they are feeding the flock rotten food and pretty much selling them to the wolves if they are not themselves wolves, actually. So, wolves in sheep clothing, that was what Yeshua warned us about. Wolves in sheep clothing. And what is a wolf in sheep clothing? Someone that looks like the real thing, but is not, right? On the outer surface, it looks like he's a Christian, but he's not. Okay? Yeah, Roman Catholicism, full of wolves in sheep clothing. Professes himself Christian and all that, and it's all bullshit. And they mix together with the true Christians. Anyway, so in the 4th century, we had this Mithraism, and I was like, okay, so what happened to Mithraism? And we know that the Constantine, the Pontifex Maximus, the high pagan priest of Sol Invictus, is, he's the one that fixed the council and all that, and we see how things are getting changed and all that, and we see where it all meets and begins to really take speed. Where we see a huge merge and amalgamation. So I'm like, okay, I read something that the pagans was force converted into Roman Catholicism. And I'm like, in regards to Mithraism, okay, a lot of things is happening in regards to Mithraism, and also Christ Mass being promoted in the late 4th century by, for example, John Chrysostom. And this is something new, according to, they are understanding this is a new thing, and they're not so sure. So John Chrysostom is giving it another thing to another go. He's really loving this, apparently. Of course, hating all the festivals of Jehovah and promoting his Romanizing, This is from Rome. He actually, this is a tradition from Rome. They knew when Yeshua was this and that and all that. He's really giving it his best, in regards of getting people to keep this, which has nothing to do with the Bible and nothing to do with the commandments. But it might have something to do with the birth of the literal Son. So that's, in regards of the sun birth of the 25 December, in regards of Sol Invictus, and, or Mithra. Okay. So, I'm thinking to make it easier to get all these pagan, in regards of Mithra. And as I understand, this was something that the soldiers, it was popular between the soldiers of. And I remember there was something in regards of that you couldn't actually, you needed to convert to, you needed to be a Christian to actually be in government positions and all that. So if that is true, well, that would probably have, also put some pressure on this, so, and if they still see that, the pagan high priest of their religion is actually the head now of, the Christians or whatever you want to, the Roman Catholic Church and all that, that might also make it easier. And if then you have their festival where they are celebrating the sun birth on the 25 December, if you take that tradition and put some Christian glimmer on it, you Christianize it, so-called. That's that's something that the Roman Catholic is very good at. Just look at the what do you call it? The front yard of the Antichrist on St. Peter's Square. In the middle of St. Peter's Square, there stands an gigantic Egyptian erect idol penis. And you tell it to the Roman Catholics, and you know what they tell you? Yeah, but we have, it's Christianized. We have put a cross on top of it. Yeah, but there's a cross on top of it. It's like, yeah, so there's a cross on top of it. So that just totally, it's Christianized. You see the insanity going on here? How blind do you need to be? Why would, they're standing a gigantic, male thing on the middle of St. Peter's Egyptian, even, pagan. And, oh yeah, but, we Christianized it. This is the essence of Roman Catholicism. It's paganism. They say it's Christian, right? It's paganism. It's the pagan mystery religion of Rome. Anyway, so what would you do to make it easier for Mithraism to get into Roman Catholicism? Well, if we take this sunbirth of Mithra on the 25th December, right? And then we'll just, put some glimmer on it, and then we'll say that, that Yeshua or Jesus was born on that day, and pretty much have, then they can still celebrate it, but just in other names, right? So as that would be pretty sensible to me if that was what they did, because again, and I'm thinking, that the religion of Mithraism then disappear in the 4th century, because I'm thinking that might be possible then, because we know it disappeared, right? We don't. Some sources said we don't have information in regards of this. We have all the places where they did their things and all that, but we don't have much writings on this religion. What we know of them seems to be from Christian sources or whatever you want to call it. But anyway, where they are talking about the similarities. I think it's Tertullian. Some of these people. Anyway, talking. So we have a little information in regards, and so we know there are some similarities between that they had. It also seems that there was. I don't know. Maybe there's more information out there that I don't know. But that's what I have gathered anyway for now. So there might be some things that I get wrong. I'm trying the best that I can. So I was just doing a little search here in regards to the 4th century, and I haven't read it totally. So it might not be nothing. But anyway, this is Martin Luther H. Beck Roger, December 13. 2004. Forward. Beck on Mithraism, collected works with new essays, Asgate Publishing, PP, that's a Roman number, so that would be 1, 2, 3, that's 13. ISBN and the number and all that. However, it says, however, the cult was vigorously opposed by Christian polemicists. I guess those that attacks, religions or falsehood and all that, especially by Justin and Tertullian. There we go with Tertullian. So Justin, that would be Justin Martyr. I guess he also talked about it, and that's Tertullian. Justin Martyr, I think, was pretty early. I can't remember when they have Justin Martyr. Wasn't that like the 2nd century or something? I can't remember. Anyway, that's because of perceived similarities between it and early Christianity. So we see Mithraism has some, things that seems to be very close to Christianity. And with anti-pagan decree, there we go, and with the anti-pagan decree of the Christian Emperor Theodosius, during the final decade of the 4th century, Mithraism disappeared from the history of religions as a viable religious practice. So it disappeared, and this decree was apparently in the final decade of 4th century. Okay. So that was 390 to 400 or something like that. Is that, am I getting that right? Anyway, so it apparently disappears, and there's a final decree to against apparently anti-pagan decrees. Now, of course, the Roman Catholic Church is pagan, but it has the sheep clothing on it. So apparently this information seems to verify some of the things that was probably an ongoing process where they're trying to get these pagans into the church. Now, what would make it easier for getting the pagans into the church? Of course, to Christianize their pagan holiday, right? Like John Chrysostom is beginning to promote in what is like 386 or something like that. I think his sermons are from. It's around there. I think I should probably have looked that up. I think as the sermons in regards of promoting this Christ Mass, and saying that Rome knew when Yeshua was born and so forward and blah blah blah, and they always known it and all that. But so 400 years down the line, now we are going to keep it according to Roman tradition. Yeah, but these Jewish festivals, you keep a long away from them. You see the agenda by the devil here. Do I really need to fix it out in pieces? He's taking away the festivals of Jehovah and then replacing them with his own. Have nothing to do with Christianity, and they have everything to do with paganism. So. And I did have sources, in regards of I did find some when I did some studies, because, people will say, Christ Mass is not pagan, it has nothing to do with paganism. To make a statement like that, you have to be utterly blind, because it's everywhere. The colors, all the things that is in Christ Mass, it's all pagan bullshit. Satan clause, a false god with knowing the children if they have been good and bad. It's like godlike powers, gnomes that goes back to house gods in the past, the colors, all these symbols and all that, it's all pagan bullshit. And you tell me that's nothing to do with pagan. Nothing to do with pagan. Bullshit. Anyway. Maybe I should I made a video where I put some information. It's also on my Facebook, but if we could go to the YouTube, I could, I just put it there without the sources, because I don't think you're allowed to put URLs like I have on, YouTube sucks pretty much. YouTube sucks. I'm not sure why I still use it, but yeah, I guess it's a convenient. I really should gather myself together and stop doing it. So the question is, what was the name of the video? That's a good question. Did I post it somewhere? Oh yeah, I think I actually have it in. No one have actually. Let's see here if I can find it here. Nope. It's turned off. Automatically bullshit. There we go. Let's see if we can. It's still not being accepted, but it should be here in going off for. Is it going to show it or not? Should show it. It should be here. I don't know what it is. Apparently it doesn't seem to show up in regards. So that's, maybe it has been declined, but I haven't heard anything about it being declined. So that's incredible. I don't know what that's a good question. What was the name of it? Oh, maybe actually. Wait. Maybe I have it on my own Facebook. I think I actually posted it. Yeah. Okay, so we can go to my own Facebook. Yeah, there's so many informations in my brain. So, learn something new and something else jumps out, and yeah, it's just. Let's see here. There's a lot of my quotes in regards of it, in regards of Mithraism and all that. Of course, I need to search more in regards, but it would make sense if if you get all the people off that usually believed in Mithra in regards to the sun god into the Roman Catholic Church. Because as far as I can see, it's just pagan sun worship and bullshit. Look, it's all over this filthy religion. They worship a cookie, that looks like, the sun. They put in a monstrance that looks like sun rays. They do it on the exact time of the sun birth of Sol Invictus in regards of Mithra and all that. You see it, so it's everywhere. So of course some people will try to defend that, but it's not that many that actually have seen the things. But anyway, here we have the comment I put off. Let's see here. Mithraism, a pagan religion consisting mainly of the cult of ancient Indo-Iranian sun god Mithra. Sunday was kept in honor of Mithra, and we also see that we have Sol Invictus in regards of Sunday, in regards to the venerated day of the sun god Sol Invictus. So here we see Sunday was kept in honor of Mithra, again making another connection. So as far as I can gather, Mithra is Sol Invictus. And the 16th of each month was sacred to him as mediator. The 25th December was observed as his birthday, the Natalis Invicti, the rebirth of the winter sun, unconquered by the records of the season. Anyway, so here we have one. This is from the Catholic Encyclopedia. We are going directly to the source. From a Roman Catholic source, and they're not even hiding it. Here we have Mithra equals Theo Sol Invictus equals the unconquered sun god. Theos, I think, means God, Sol is sun, and Invictus is unconquered. So, in short, as Loisy says, the great mysteries of Mithra were a great religion. I think that's from his book, the great mysteries of Mithra were a great religion. So I think you can find that book. But anyway, all these historical issues have been extensively studied since the late 19th century, and they are known, but generally they do not reach the public because the authorities and the responsible religious do not know or do not want to know, and much less to transmit to the faithful whom they would consider not ready to know the historical truth. So, and the responsible religious do not know or do not want to know, and much less to transmit to the faithful whom they should consider not ready to know the historical truth. Defending the lies and the deceptions. That's what they're doing, they're keeping all these pagan traditions and promoting these pagan traditions, like the New Year of Janus is not the New Year of the Bible. If people just read their Bible, they would see that these priests out there in the churches are bullshitting them, But of course, I guess it's too much to ask for anyone to actually read the Bible, the beginning of the first 5 books of Moses and all that. Of course, if they actually do, they end up being kicked out of the churches, right? Because apparently in a church that actually should follow Christ and should have the spirit of truth in him, right? Apparently that you can't have a person like that in the church. That's apparently in the meeting house, church, synagogue, meeting house, pretty much, right? You can't have a person like that, right? No, it's just incredible. So I guess it's like when Yeshua is saying, they will kick you out of the synagogues. That's could absolutely also be referred to the churches, that if you begin to get too much truth and, stand on the Bible, well, you might be kicked out of your, your place. So it causes so much commotion and distress. The statements of the hierarchy as simple as that performed by Pope John Paul II on December the 21, 1993, when he acknowledged, this is the Antichrist, when he acknowledged that Christ Mass they replaced, what did they replace? The pagan festival of the invincible sun. What is that? That is the birthday of Mithra, which coincided with the solstice winter. The media news were echo of that, and we can easily locate it in anywhere. Hemorotica, and hemorotica from Greek hemera, day, and tika, wardrobe, safe deposit, in which news data and magazines are stored. So it's a safe, it's a place where news data and magazines are stored. I guess newspapers and all that. Anyway, that was also I did do because I hadn't seen that, so I did my own research, and that seems to also be it's a place where they store things, newspapers, it seems, as well. Anyway, so that was one. So here we have it directly from the Antichrist, from his from their own mouth, that Christmas Day replaced the pagan festival of the invincible sun. That would be Sol Invictus. Sol Invictus being Mithra. Do you get it? Do you see the connections? And then getting all the people that worship Mithra into the Roman Catholic Church, still being pagans, yet entering the Roman Catholic Church. And as I understand it, when a lot of these pagans entered the Roman Catholic Church, they would have, they took a lot of the pagan practices with them. They're just changing the names. It's still the same bullshit, but they're just changing the names. You have idols, you have images, you have cookies they're worshipping. It's all bullshit, They just exchanged the, different gods that you could pray to as I understand it, instead of those. They exchanged it with so-called saints. And you can see that, some of these people that they have so-called sainted are just, it's incredible. It's so diabolic. It's like, it's just so disgusting. Anyway, the more you learn about Roman Catholicism, the more, you think it cannot be more filthy. And it's like every time it's just, you find more filth, It just becomes more and more and more filthy. I wish I would have known these things from my youth, This is what Protestants knew in the past. They knew about the history. They knew about what the Roman Catholic Church was. And then, they read their Bibles, they studied their Bibles, and they knew who the Antichrist was. Anyway, and sadly, we have no clue in our days. But the information is out there. The Bible is there on the shelf. We just need to take it down, begin to read it, be careful of Paulus, the Roman Pharisee Paulus. Satan, tries on so many levels to distort the truth and get us away from the law of Jehovah. And tell us that, we will lose salvation if we... let's get going. There we go. No. Anyway, if we begin to keep the commandments of Jehovah, we'll lose salvation and all that bullshit. What utter nonsense. I really need to get some synonyms in regards to that word, so I have... anyway, but that's it is just utter outrageous, But it's okay to keep Romanizing, but you're not allowed to, if you're Judaizing, you will lose salvation, give me a break. And of course, the Nazarenes, which was the first believers, the Romanizers even condemned them as a heresy, as heretics. Why? Well, because they were still standing on the law of Moses. Apparently that's just the worst thing that anyone could do, to keep the law of Moses and still, to still uphold the law of Moses, the law of Jehovah, which our master upheld. And he refined it. He took it to another level, in regards to the law. You shouldn't steal, but you shouldn't even think of stealing. It shouldn't even be in your heart to want to steal. You shouldn't commit murder, but you shouldn't even think of doing it. Anyway, let's see here. Where do we go? Okay. Another quote here. On the other hand, the birth of the god Mithras, the Persian sun god, is held on December 25, the day of winter solstice. Because on that day, the sun begins to appear sooner, that is, it is born again, leading to a new solar year. The word solstice derives from the Latin solstitium, solis, statum, stare, or sistera, stop, because of the apparent stillness or slow movement of the sun as it reaches the tropics. Until that day, the day or light space has been decreasing, but from that time on, the day grows and grows like a newborn. And I was on David Wood's live show, before I went to sleep and all that, and tried to tell him, hey, I've answered, I responded to your video and all that, and he just kept on going in that video, demeaning, making fun of the people saying that Christ Mass is pagan and all that, that's just, and he's even saying that he hasn't really himself done the studies on it, and yet he's making fun of those people saying it's pagan. I really have to take it together, That's just, I haven't done the studies, but, you people that say it's pagan, you're just bullshitters, And what kind of bullshit is that, anyway. And making fun of them and so forth. It's just, it's outrageous, I think. It's, but of course, it's how the devil works, try to, make fun of people and make fun of the truth. And yeah, anyway. So until that day, our light space has been decreasing, but from that time on, the day grows and grows like a newborn. And not only, we can follow that there's so many links in regards to this. You have so many pagan societies that, they worship, they don't have any problem in regards to keeping the 25 December, the winter solstice, because it's all pagan bullshit, It's just so clear, you can just follow it everywhere. It's just everywhere. It's just it's not a, if you dig into it, it's literally, if you have eyes to see, it's just everywhere. And in regards of some of the other pagans call it other things. I've seen other names, So we have Christ Mass, we have Yule, and I've seen, again, other names. I can't remember in my head, I didn't think it was important to remember. But you can find a lot, and you could also, from pagan, they're clearly pagans, and they're proud of it, and, so you can get some... Well, yeah, it's all over. It's all over. Anyway, so Mithraism was a religion very widespread throughout the empire by the Roman legions, and as a religion of salvation was clearly competing with Christianity. As in many other cases, the date became Christianized, moving the celebration of the birth of Jesus to the date of the birth of Mithras. So who is this source? That's from Antonia Marco Martinez, born in January 1949, professor of Latin at various high schools. He is now retired and has enough time to reread the Greek and Latin classics, review the history and culture, and extract information that has a direct relevance to the present. So that's another source, I just took I just did a little research, This is just the latest, things that I just hit into, So because I studied these things years and years ago, and found out about these things like 4 or 5 years or something like that. So there's a lot of information out there. In AD 274, the Roman Emperor Aurelian gave the cult of Sol Invictus official status alongside the traditional cults of the empire. According to a manuscript known as the Chronographic of 354, the birth of Sol Invictus was celebrated on December the 25th. And as far as I can see, in regard to Sol Invictus, Dios Sol Invictus is pretty much just Mithra. It connects with Mithra. It is just, it's just Mithra as far as I can see. The birth of Sol Invictus was celebrated on the December 25, given the fact that the Mithraist equated that god with Sol in one way or another. Again, because there's some say there's some variations apparently, but as far as I can see, the links pretty much go that it's Sol Invictus is Mithra. But anyway, it is understandable that they would then appropriate the established state as their own. So whatever the case, if that was true, but this seems to me it's pretty much the same, that it's sun worship. It's Mithra. Sol Invictus is Mithra now. Anyway, the problem for the skeptic is that no evidence exists to suggest that Aurelian was a Mithraist. Yeah, but if he was, if he gave the cult of Sol Invictus, I guess, anyway, whatever, suggests that Aurelian was a Mithraist, or that he even had Mithraism in mind when he instituted the feast of Sol Invictus. So apparently he's agreeing that he apparently instituted the feast of Sol Invictus, but in regards of, he says there's no evidence in regards of him being a Mithraist. Well, again, you can see the links in regards of Sol Invictus and Mithraism. So as far as I can see, Mithra is Sol Invictus. So anyway, the date of the festival become important to the Mithraists because they equated that god with Sol. So again, even if equated that god with Sol, with the sun. So so you get the information, right? So these was just some of the sources that I, in the last, just a quick research and all that. And I put it on my Facebook, like when finding something interesting, and just put it on my Facebook with the source and all that. I don't think I can put the source on YouTube. There's a lot of ghost banning and all that. So, and you never know what is actually being ghost censored and all that, and that's one of the things that is so disgusting with Google, YouTube, and that's one of the reasons, of course. Actually, one of the reasons of many that I absolutely do not trust Google in any way at all, because this is utter bullshit. That you would go censor people to believe that they actually write something and it's not shown, and yet it's shown on their place to actually, so the user doesn't know that it has been censored. That's utter disgrace and disgusting. So, and hearing what actually happens behind the doors of these companies is outrageous. Anyway, so I guess that's pretty much it. So as far as I can see, collecting all the puzzle pieces, the people that was worshipping Mithra just became Roman Catholics pretty much, and they continued to do their festival, and then people begin to promote Christmas as the birth of Yeshua, when it's actually the birth of the sun god. You have all these sun symbols, and yet people are totally oblivious and blind to it. It's incredible. How many sun symbols do you need to see? How many things do they need to shove in your face to understand that this is just paganism in sheep clothing? Apparently a lot. It's incredible. This is a wolf in sheep clothing. And the Antichrist is the head of the Roman Catholic Church. Anyway, but no one knows. Well, just go back and read Protestant books, and you will see they all believed it. They all got the understanding that the so-called Pope was the Antichrist. So, anyway, be aware of the Romanizers, become a Judaizer, and stand strong against the Roman Antichrist. And of course, stand strong against all his wicked, filthy laws as well, and get back to the law of Jehovah. So, underestimating the devil is not an option. There is work to do and rope to pull. Anyway, let's see here. What do we have here? This is from John Chrysostom from the 4th century. And, you can get some truth out of things, as well. He says, if the Jewish ceremonies are venerable and great, ours are lies. And in regards of the festivals and all that, yes, what you are promoting were lies and Roman traditions of utter bullshit, attacking the Judaizers while Romanizing vanity and empty air. And we have another one. This is Christ Mass. In 354 AD, Bishop Liberius of Rome ordered the people to celebrate on December the 25. He probably chose this date because the people of Rome already observed it as the feast of Saturn. Now, in regards to the feast of Saturn, I think it is in the same month in regards of up to it, but in regards to the 25 of December, seems to go hand in hand with Mithra, But who knows? It might all have been, a pile of crap, pretty much. But anyway, celebrating the birthday of the sun. This is Sechrist E.H. Christmas World Book Encyclopedia, Volume 3. Field Enterprises and so forward. But they lead it back to the feast of Saturn, Saturnalia, where they also, if you look at Christ Mass, a lot of the things that they did in the past, we just still do. It's the same thing, we're just giving it another name. People are, when people say, oh yeah, but Saturnalia is not in regards, it's, but it's in the same month, right? And do we celebrate Christ Mass, or does people celebrate Christ Mass like the whole month of December? Yes, they do. I pushed my food is cooking here. So, yeah. So I don't know if there could be any connections, some seems to think there absolutely is a connection there. So, whatever the case, it's just pagan bullshit, nothing to do. They're waiting, what the information here is saying, Christ Mass in 354 AD. There's like 354 AD. How many years is that after Yeshua had been here and executed and all that? That's over 300 years, and they never kept this festival. Never ever kept this festival. And yet then in the 4th century, where we see that Constantine comes in, and we see a lot of paganizing and all things, amalgamating and all that, and getting the pagans into the Roman Catholic Church and all that, into this wicked institution and all that, then in 354 they apparently makes it to a celebration on the December 25. Anyway, so we have all these links and putting them together, but then, people will say, oh, but it's nothing to do with paganism and all that. It's all pagan bullshit. Look around you. You have to be literally blind if you can't see it. All pagan bullshit. All pagan vanity and empty air, Don't do as the pagans. And if people want to make fun of that and all that, it's just these Romanizers defending vanity, that's, it might be showing their colors, their real colors. If they want to, defend such things, and defend lies and deceptions and promote paganism, well, so just be aware, and you have to do your own research in regards to these things, because no one will do it for you. It's just, there's so many liars, so many deceivers. The devil has his workers out there, and you really just need to do the work for you. Do some study, make it your own. Look up in lexicons and all that. But of course, these people will also say, oh, the lexicons are also wrong. Yeah, okay. So we have all these sources. The lexicons apparently just get it wrong. One lexicon after another is wrong. Because it doesn't agree that it actually says that these things are pagan. Let's see here what we have here. And we have some problems in regards to the connection, sadly. And we pretty much took that. I don't know why we have a problem with the connection, but typically. See here. I was in regards of the Sabbath, by the way, I think. Let's see here. Okay, let's see. Go back. What was it? That was just an interesting thing that I went, in the 4th century, Socrates Scholasticus stated that the Christians of Alexandria and Rome partook of the mysteries, the love feast of the Eucharist. Now again, the cookie Jesus and all that, I don't believe in that. And it seems like John Chrysostom as well believed that the cookie becomes God. But I'm not inside, I have to verify that, but it wouldn't be a surprise, standing on Roman doctrines and all that. But the bread, the living bread that came down from the heavens and was broken was Yeshua. Yeshua died once and for all on the tree, and his wine poured out for the sins of the world. Anyway, in the 4th century, Socrates Scholasticus stated that the Christians of Alexandria and Rome partook of the mysteries, the love feast of the Eucharist, on the first day of the week. And that's Saturday evening. I found that was very interesting because then they're actually following the way when in regards to the sunset. And of course, that is also the biblical way, the sunset to sunset in regards of a day. And that's interesting. So I wonder when did they actually change that? When did midnight actually become the beginning of the day, if it actually was the beginning of the day at sunset in regards to Saturday evening? Am I getting that wrong? But Saturday evening, that would be the evening, right? In regards to the sunset, as far as I can gather. Though they also held worship meetings on Sabbath, like almost other churches. So, by the 5th century, Sozomen stated that most churches, such as Constantinople, met both on Sabbath and the first day, Saturday evening, but that Rome and Alexandria met only on the first day, Saturday evening, and no longer on the Sabbath. It's just interesting information that they put in regards to Saturday evening. So it's, when did we change the beginning of the day to in the middle of the night, I think that's interesting. Anyway, that's pretty much it for me, I guess. There's a lot more to research, of course. There's always things to research and all that. When we have the truth, we have the truth, and then it's a lot harder for the devil to take it away. And this was my response in regards to should Christians celebrate Christ Mass? And of course they shouldn't. I think that's pretty clear. It's a pagan tradition. You just don't make it Christian just by putting glimmer on something and to just say now it's for God. What utter bullshit. And when we have instructions in the Bible to what to do in regards of his festivals, and we reject them, and we see in regards of history how they have attacked the festivals of Jehovah and yet promoted that pagan bullshit, Easter, Christ Mass, and you see John Chrysostom also defending. Did I actually find that in regards of? But anyway, he defends the thing in regards of Easter, instead of defending what the Bible says. I don't care what church council says. I don't care. I don't care what the Antichrist in Rome says. He's not the one we are called to follow. We are called to follow Christ and Christ alone. He's the one that is our master, our God, our teacher, our rabbi. He's the way. He's the life. He's the he's the light. He's the door to the resurrection, to eternal life. So don't give me that bullshit of the triune tyrant in Rome and all that. He doesn't have any say. He's a pagan. He's not a Christian. He's the high pagan priest of Pontifex Maximus. Anyway, the high pagan priest of sun worship. Yeah, in regards of the pagan sun. So, and you can see him, as I told you, you can see him close to, in regards to Christ Mass and all that, where he's shown on the television and all that. And you also have all that Sunday thing where they focus so much on Sunday. Well, what is Sunday? Sunday is in the venerated day of the sun god Sol Invictus, and you connect that to Mithra as well. So it's the it's the venerated day of Mithra. It's the first day of the week, which people believe is the last day of the week. I don't know. I guess it's just it seems like no one wants to listen anyway. The truth is out there, the information is out there, and yet it seems like people just, a lot of people don't. That's not true. There are people that actually cares out there, of course. That's of course with the nice thing with the internet that. This looks good. I'm making some. What do you call it? Can't remember what it's called, but it'll be nice. Low sugar, and of course it's the next day now. So the sun has set for today. So I actually need to take my next dose of antifungals and all that. So I guess that will be nice. But actually, I'm feeling pretty good. It's still there, but it's low. It's not that, at least at the moment. Now, I can feel it a little in my legs. A little itch in my legs. My nose, my arms, and so forward. But overall, it's pretty good. It's not like totally hewing me down. Of course, it would be nice totally to have it gone. But it's a lot less than it. I'm not thinking of, I'm not thinking of a rope, in regards of, it's like, oh, this is, and I would never do it. But, there are times where it's like, oh, this is just awful, how can I go on living with this, Anyway, but this is not so bad, at the moment. So that's nice. This will be wonderful with some. It's a long time since I actually had this, and I know it's pretty tasty, and and again it's low on sugar. It's like 0.6 grams of sugar per 100 grams, if I remember correctly. So it shouldn't be so bad. So. And it tastes pretty good, but usually, meat. But I don't have any meat at the moment, and I need to buy something. I have some broccoli as well, frozen broccoli. A low sugar as well. I found different things in regards of low sugar. So just to get a little variation. Pretty good. Anyway, I don't have much more. Just trying to connect the dots, and probably people out there in the past have probably done that as well. And written some books on it, and collected all the puzzle pieces. But anyway, I guess you still have to do some, digging, so you can also know where in regards to truth, being led in the truth. When you know some things and all that, and it helps you to actually help you in the right direction of who is probably trying to tell you the truth and who is trying to deceive you. Again, the more you know of truth, the easier it begins to to discern what is false. Pretty much. So So here we have the diflucan. This is actually synthetic, and but Anyway, I had to try it out and see if it. I'm doing other natural. I've done some echinacea that I began like 2 days ago, and some berberine as well. And so I have some resveratrol as well, and some cinnamon as well, and some cloves. So I'm hitting it from every a lot of angles. Whatever can help to take it out. Anyway, may Jehovah bless you, and may Yeshua be a most precious pearl, and may the Holy Spirit, the Spirit of truth, be in us all. Amen. Have a good one, and be careful, for the devil is out there, and he shouldn't be underestimated, for sure. There's an ongoing battle in regards of truth and deception out there. So, and that will continue. The Antichrist wants his poop doom. And as far as I can see, he will get it, and this is what is being promoted. Is the direction that we're taking, and it's going very, very quickly in our days. Again, the people don't even know who the Antichrist is anymore. So now the world is gathering around the Antichrist. They know how to play the political game and so forward. And the shadow of the white poop is the black poop, the general of the Jesuits. Look at the Jesuit oath and see how disgusting system. And this is just one of these are the special soldiers that was created to get the Protestants under the wings of the Antichrist again. That's... because he lost a lot of power at the time of the protest. Anyway, and of course the protest should continue and will continue, and hopefully it will blow up again in some sense, so people will know the truth. But it seems like people don't really care about the truth in our days. They really don't care, it seems. They really They just want to, like in regards of Christmas, for example, or Yule, as we call it in Denmark, and people some people are just looking for an excuse to actually go back to keep these pagan traditions. They just want someone to tell them that it's not pagan, and that is actually Christian and all that, and then they will be fine running back to the things. They're just looking for someone that can tell them an excuse to go back, and to keep these pagan traditions, That's what they're just looking for. And when they have found someone, hey, great, hey, that satisfies them, It satisfies them, and then they run back, while all the paganism is just around them, It's very, I think it's very clear, but anyway. It's just all over. How can't you see it? How blind do you need to be if you're rejecting that it has anything to do with paganism? How blind do you literally have to be if it's everywhere. Nothing to do with the Bible. Nothing. Yeshua would not have been keeping Christ Mass. But what he would be keeping would be in regards of Passover, 7 days of unleavened bread. He would have kept in regards of first fruit after the Sabbath of those 7 days, the weekly Sabbath, and counting to 50 in regards of Shavuot, in regards to the festival of weeks. He would have been keeping the Day of Trumpets, the Day of Atonement, the festival of Sukkot, or the festival of Booth, and the last great day, and so forth. And that was what he kept. You can see that in the New Testament. There's no Christ Mass in the New Testament. So, anyway, don't do as the pagans, the heathens, the nations, because their traditions, their customs are vain. It's vanity. And yet, what do we do? Exactly as the pagans. Exactly as the pagans. Anyway, have a good one, all of you. And, take care, because the devil is out there, and he, when you have that most precious pearl, don't let go of him, because the devil will try. The battle begins, he hits you hard. and he tries from many different angles to try to take things away or make it harder for you to move forward. It's incredible. So anyway, have a good one. Be careful of wolves in sheep clothing. Study and grow and, get more discernment, yeah. There's no one that's going to do it for you. No one is going to do it for you. And in our days of this wicked world and, huge amount of deceivers out there, we really have to be diligently, searching things out and studying and standing strong on the truth. Anyway, have a good one, all of you. Oh yeah, what is it? No. Shavua Tov, I think. Shavua Tov, is that? Yeah, I think it's Shavua Tov. In regards to have a good week. Shavua Tov, the Shavua, that's week, right? Tov, that's good. Shavua Tov. Shavua Tov, have a good week, all of you. We are in the first day of the week, which is now. The sunset have set, at least in Denmark anyway. And then the week begins with the first day. So now a lot of people in Denmark believe this is the last day. Well, actually, first when we hit 0000. As you can see, it's actually 17 here. It's a little hard to see actually, but so there's still over 6 hours for the Roman next day. But again, it seems like that the Romans might actually have fixed the day at the correct point at some time. I have to study that at some point, look into that. That will be interesting. Anyway, have a good one. I should stop speaking. Stop speaking! I guess I love speaking.